Hello again, it's Noob, and this, I believe, is a bit of a first to market set, in that there hasn't been a set like this currently available on the market for lockpickers to buy, and this is the Multipick triple gauge lockpick set. Yeah, you heard that right. You have 5 profiles in 3 different gauges. So we have 0.6mm, 0.5mm and 0.4mm in thickness, which is around 23 to 24 thousandths of an inch, 19 to 20 thousandths of an inch, and 15 to 16 thousandths of an inch. So we're getting from what is a relatively sort of standard lockpick gauge all the way down to what is pretty thin at that 15 thousandths of an inch kind of thickness. Now, before I carry on, full disclosure, I personally curated this set. I chose all the picks and profiles and all the rest of it with Multipick. I've worked with Multipick in the past with various designs and curated sets, and I hope to continue to do so in the future. This isn't a paid review. This set was sent to me for review and to keep. Other than that, I don't think I've got any more disclosures to give you. So let's crack on. So triple gauge set. You might have heard of dual gauge sets, which is great. And the same principle applies. Why do we want 3 of the same pick profiles? Well, first of all, you want a set of picks which is nice and strong and robust, and you know, 0.6mm, that 24 thousandths of an inch thickness is just really good all-rounder. You know, these are sandwich metal handles. They convey feedback really well because it's a full tang pick. This is really good. But there are occasions where locks don't allow you to use a pick even that slender, and you need to go down a gauge. So maybe one of these, and you can see here it'll say 0.5mm there, and these are markedly more flexible. And then you can go down a size again if you need that extra thinness, and these are even more flexible, and actually the whole back of this says 0.4. So you might be thinking, well, let's have a look at these. These are, I believe, 3 Multipick facets as well, which are like a slightly rounded gem style profile. But yeah, very cool. And if I lay these side by side, hopefully you'll be able to see the relative thickness in this dimension. And you can bend them just with the tip of your finger, and you can see how much more flexible they become. So a question you might be asking is, do we need really 3 different gauges? Let me show you some locks and I'll explain. So this Eurocylinder here is a very standard Yale style keyway, and you can easily get a pick like this short hook down into that keyway. This is 0.6mm, and this is the thickest one. You can easily go in there and pick your locks. Everything's fine. Great. So why couldn't you use the 0.4mm one? Because that will go in just as well. Why not just have a 0.4mm set? Well, the thing is that the more flexible the pick is, the more that it will deflect side to side when you're picking, and it will provide more springiness naturally because it's not as rigid a material, which means that you get less feedback. It also, as you imagine, being thinner, won't be quite as durable and will be more prone to deformation over time. So the rule of thumb is, where you can put a thicker pick, you will get a more durable tool which conveys better feedback and is more rigid within the lock. So you might be thinking, well, why don't I just stick with this then, right? Because this will give you lots of feedback, it's nice and rigid, all those things you just said. We don't need the 0.4 and the 0.5. Okay, let me show you some other locks. So I've got 2 ZI Econ locks from Assa Abloy and another DOM, but you'll see that this DOM is a lot different to the other DOM lock we had a look at, and I'll do a side-by-side comparison in a second, but just look at these keyways. If you just look at that and you get, I don't know, one of these 0.6mm thick picks, you're going to try and pick up into the top, this pick won't even get up through that warding on some of these. So you might want to then go down to the next size hook and see whether that will go in there. Oh, it's getting there. It's a little tight though. Then you go down again and you find the pick. Oh yeah, perfect. So you find the pick which will allow you to get into the keyway. You choose the thickest pick which will comfortably allow you to manipulate the pins, giving you that great feedback, that durability. But you also want to get the pick which will fit into the keyway, which is why a triple gauge set is so good. You can basically dial in exactly the right gauge or profile for the type of lock. And yes, these are clearly much higher security locks. I mean, these are from the same brand, and you can see quite clearly which one is a higher security lock right there. And actually, here is a section from a video where I picked that higher security DOM using, amongst other things, 0.4mm multi-pick picks. Unfortunately, that lock takes far too long to pick to be suitable for a review video such as this, so I'll leave a link to it below if you want to go check it out. So fine, we've explained why a triple gauge set is great. You can get the correct thickness of pick for the lock that still allows you the most feedback and durability. Brilliant. But why these profiles? Lockpickers who are experienced lockpickers tend to prefer single pin picking. It gives you much more control within a lock. And for those higher security locks, raking may not really be an option. Can be sometimes. Now, here are the 4 hook profiles. And if I align them like this, I'll just get them together. You'll see that they are, I'll separate them out a bit. Try and get that aligned for you. There you go. You can see that they are all just a little bit taller than the last one, going from shortest to deepest. So basically we've got short hooks all the way to deep hooks. And while this set does cater for the single pin picker, the majority of the experienced lock pickers out there, it was still worth including a 0.6, 0.5 and 0.4, look how flexible that is, millimeter triple peak rake, because they're just really useful. And sometimes it just helps you to get ahead with the lock, maybe rake a high security lock into a false set and allow you to pick the rest of the pins using the hooks. So again, just a nice little addition. So 4 different hook heights in 3 different gauges, plus 3 different gauge triple peak rakes. You know, you've got a lot of profiles there. This is going to get you into a ton of locks, both low and high security. And not only do you have all of these different picks in all different heights and gauges, you also have a choice between just a triple gauge pick set like this, or one that has a full Christina Palmer turning tool set in there as well, which is one of my favorite sets of turning tools. So if you were an experienced picker looking for a triple gauge set like this, then you might just want to get the standard set. But if you were just starting out or wanted a professional level kit and didn't have any turners, or just like these turners because they are genuinely really good, then of course you can buy this set with the turners included. So I have 2 different choices, 2 different price points, obviously, but I really like the fact that we're catering for people who just want the picks and people who would like the picks and this excellent turner set. I didn't actually have anything to do with the design of these, but I seriously love this set of turners. I think Christina Palmer did an excellent job at designing these. So let's do some demos. For the interest of time, I probably won't be picking any of the super high security locks, but we'll just have a bit of a pick for some fun and then get to some conclusions. So I have a Euro cylinder in the vise, and I want to see whether I can use a triple peak rake to get this into like a bit of a false set, so we can do some hybrid picking. There we go. So, wow, straight away there. It's a tight little keyway, so I'm going to use a 0.5mm hook, and we're just going to see what I can feel in the back of this lock that might give us some counter rotation. There you go, that was 5. Back through, just tapping these pins. This is feels like 3 there. Back through, back through, back through, and we go all the way to the back, and what we're doing is just tapping these pins, see who's giving us any counter rotation that we can take advantage of, like this, and there we go, got the open. So I have an American lock in the vise, and I'm going to be using a 0.4mm pick, and this is a 1.3mm top of the keyway tool, which is perfect for this lock. And the idea is that this keyway is so sort of wide, you could probably get away with a 0.5, but this 0.4 sort of just glides into this keyway. It's so nice, and I'm using very light tension anyway, so I'm not going to risk sort of damaging the tools I pick through, because you know these are serrated pins. I want to be able to sort of feel everything which I'm picking in the lock without rubbing against that warding. And there we go, into a really nice deep false set now. That was pin 2. That was pin 5, I think. Nothing on 4. 3, 2. And certainly I can't feel anything. Oh, we actually are open. I thought we'd so yeah, just using such light tension, didn't realize we were open. But you wouldn't think that 0.4 would work in a lock like this, but it felt really good. And for the last very quick demo, we'll use a 0.6mm short hook because it's a very small keyway, and hopefully because it's very, very stiff compared to the other ones, I can put a bit more turning force on the lock, and we should just be able to pick through this little yell pretty quickly. There we go, like that. So there you go, those are a few demos. I think you can see that, even though I didn't do any of the like super high security locks for time purposes, they're really just very effective. I'll try to do some conclusions, and I'll think of pros and cons and things like that, and things I just want you to be aware of. So pros. I don't think that there is a set which is a triple gauge like this, which is hook profile heavy, but also contains some triple peak rakes, because they're just so useful, right? I don't know of any other manufacturer that's offering that. So straight out the park, if you're looking for a triple gauge set and you want to have that handy choice of hooks in 4 different depths, in 4 different gauges, I don't know where else you could look for that without piecing together a kit yourself from various other kits. I think that as ever, well, these are multi-picks, so you're going to get a really close attention to detail, just really nice finishing out of the pack, perfectly usable. I didn't modify these picks in any way for the demos. These are just really nice. I love the fact they've got like the thickness, the part number, the year of manufacture, just all that kind of stuff. Some nice etching on the handles with those lockpick profiles. Multipick really do have a great attention to detail with these things. They are a premium manufacturer for a reason. So yeah, obviously I chose the profiles, but I think the choice of profiles is really good. They really are very different in the way they feel in terms of those depths and things. So yeah, I think there's a lot of good stuff here. Now, the other thing, which I probably didn't talk about enough at the beginning of the video, I have done a separate review on these turners. That's why you can go check that out. I'll try to leave a link to it below. But these turners that Christina Palmer put together are great. We've got a tapered one here, and this is offset, so it can go into those locks which maybe have a surround on, or a rosette, or a rose. Is it a rose? Yeah, I think so. So these are really useful, more useful than you'd think, because they can go into like dimple locks as well, because they can be quite thick. You've got these little top of the keyway turners, but work equally well bottom of the keyway in like small padlocks and things. Very useful again in 0.8, I think 1 and 1.3mm in thickness. You see the different thicknesses, same thicknesses for these bottom of the keyway turners, very nice. And this whole host of top of the keyway turners of different depths. So this would go onto a lock where it could stay flush with the face of the lock. I think on the American lock I picked earlier, I've got something which is offset a bit deeper, and then you've got even more deeper offset top of the keyway turners, which by the way could also be dimple lock turners or bottom of the keyway padlock turners. And that's another really big pro for this set, which has these. Again, there are 2 options, one without these turners, one with. You might already have these turners or have plenty of turners and just want the triple gauge set, or you might want to look for a pretty robust and complete set which is hook heavy, in which case you can have the turners included, obviously at an extra cost. And the other thing to commend Multipick about is the fact that they have these really nice full leather triple fold cases, which they just feel really nice and premium. They've got this kind of like fuzzy velvety lining. This bit isn't leather, but it's lined. It's all stitched very nicely. It's just a really nice case. Feels very nice as well. So I think it's a lot of pros. Now, clearly, as somebody who curated this kit and worked with Multipick, I can't really think of many cons, because otherwise I would have changed it. But I suppose if you were thinking about it as somebody looking at this set for maybe a beginner, I don't know if this is really where most beginners will want to start. One, it's a premium set, and it does command a premium price. And I've just had the costs confirmed. The full kit will cost €116.81 net, and the kit without the turners is €83.19 net. That's at the time of filming. The prices will change over time. It doesn't include your local taxes, import fees, customs charges, postage, and all that kind of stuff. So that's just the net prices. But yeah, so if you're a beginner lockpicker, would this be a great first set? I don't think it would be. This is definitely looking towards those intermediate and expert lockpickers who are looking at much higher security locks and need a triple gauge set. The only other thing I'd say is, of course, that these are just sandwich handles. Some people really like them. Some people like to put shrink tubing on them or other aftermarket handles that slide on. I personally quite like them the way they are, but some people don't like these sandwich handles, because they're not particularly wide and they are bare metal. So again, depending on what your preferences are, you could see that as a con too. But otherwise, I think this is a really good set with just the right amount of each profile in each of the gauges to suit the majority of lockpickers who need to have triple gauge picks. So yeah, I'd really like to know what you think to this set in the comments. Did I do a good job at picking the right profiles and the gauges and all those kind of things? Let me know in the comments. I do read them all, reply to as many as I can. If you like this video, hit that like and subscribe to my channel if you think I deserve it, because those things really help me out and really help this channel out. Otherwise, all I can say is stay safe, happy picking, and I'll see you all next time.